We want to welcome to the podium tonight Commissioner Joseph Stotts, who will be giving the invocation.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this day. We thank you so much always for the many blessings that you bestow on us. We thank you so much for our family, our friends. We thank you so much for you giving us the ability every day to go out and make a living and work and provide for our families. And as we gather here together, we're very glad and very fortunate that you allow us to serve and provide service and give back to our community. And we're also very thankful, and keep in mind always of your words in the Gospel of Matthew 18:20, where you said, where there's more than two or three of you gathered in my name, together there I am with you. And so, having said that, let us always use your guide and your examples to help make the best decisions that we can, not only for our families, but for our community at large. In Christ's name we humbly pray. Amen.
Amen. If you remain standing for the pledge, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. First item of business is roll call.
Michael Bell,
Here.
Carl D. Bolden,
Here.
Carl E. Bolden,
Here.
Arlene Brown,
Here.
David Dunlap,
Here.
Randy England,
Here.
Deborah Evans,
Here.
Steve Glenn, Richard Grissom,
Here.
Stephen Hilton,
Here.
Robert Hennessy, Lori Judkins,
Here.
Ron Lee, Gary Martin,
Here.
Daniel Owens,
Here.
Gary Prater,
Here.
Christy Ross,
Here.
Scott Ruble,
Here.
Tommy Savage,
Here.
Tyrone Spartman,
Here.
Joseph Stotts,
Here.
Philip Stout,
Here.
Cole Taylor,
Here.
Lane Wiltshire.
Here.
Thank you. There are a few seats in the front if some of y'all would like to sit down. Next item of business is adoption of docket. I would entertain a motion for,
Mr. Chairman,
yes, recognize Commissioner Brown.
I'd like to make a motion to remove from the agenda item number 5, which is the approval of contract for voice over IP services between Warren County Schools and ENA.
Thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second? Second for Commissioner Grissom. Anybody want to speak to that motion? All in favor of adoption, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next item is reading of minutes. I think each of you have a copy of the last court minutes sent to you via email or written copy. Is there a motion to dispense with reading and approved as presented? A motion from Commissioner Stotts, second from Commissioner Taylor. Anybody want to speak to that motion? All in favor of adoption of minutes, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Like sign. Motion carries. Next item is public comment. And so we have a comment today that has to do with a forum that I went to this last week, an ECD Mayor's Forum. And the governor of Tennessee asked that we show a couple of videos to our commissioners and to our audience as part of a marketing campaign and economic community development initiative across the state. So we have Mastered in Tennessee that was formulated for the state and our own version that we're using to collaborate with our website and with our other agencies, including the chamber. So at this time, if you would like to watch the screen, if you can see where you're at, we can also send you a copy of this. Any commissioner, any individual that would like to have this. So I gave it to some of our key players and agencies, but enjoy the video.
There are two types of people in this world. Some are fond of the status quo. You won't find many of those people in Tennessee. You're more likely to find that other type. Ones who spend themselves on work worth doing. Grab the chance to step on stage and say something worth hearing. Something worth believing. Here, we know what it means to have big dreams. We also know how important it is to have the focus and the skills to transform an idea into reality. To build something better,
we have the one from Warren County as well, so.
Global markets, yet off the beaten path. People come to Warren County to uncover new ways of doing things. On the water, on the land, and underground. Here, people bring their skills, their big ideas, grow new businesses. They're emblematic of the future. Here, nature lends its hand to business success. Forward thinking and technological know-how create a skilled workforce, and robust educational opportunities support a diversity of industries. Attention to the small things means that we bring big things to life. Industries that power America rely on our commitment, quality, and artistry, bringing our best to work each day, living a big life, one of America's great small towns. You can see the difference. You can be part of it. Now is your time to be Warren County, Minnesota.
The governor said to send you his best wishes, and he hopes to be in McMinnville next month as we dedicate the robotics center. So it was a great conference, and if you'd like a copy, the PowerPoint's attached to this as well. We can send it to you, so just let us know. Next item is employee recognition. I don't have one single employee tonight that I want to recognize individually, but I do want to recognize a group of employees that during our recent flooding and disasters that plagued Warren County, both on our roads and bridges and highways, but also in our rescue teams and law enforcement, I would just like to give a shout out to all of those that played a huge part in those couple of weekends of torrential rain that isolated some folks up at Irving College and put a strain on our resources. And so we're hoping that some of this disaster money that may become available, we will qualify for. We had a meeting last week in Jim Cunningham's office and the EMA office, and so to review our losses, and so not only to agriculture, but also our losses to the roads and bridges and highways. And so I just want to give a shout out to all of our employees, emergency personnel, law enforcement, first responders, our rescue squad, all of those folks who played a crucial part in getting us through that long weekend and then the subsequent weekend of rain. So record rain sometimes pose lots of problems, and we have several $100,000 worth of damage that we're going to have to address. And so we hope to tackle those within the next few months on the repairs, and hopefully we'll get some additional resources from the federal and state government to alleviate that. So agriculture was adversely affected as well in May for the next few months as this record rainfall has saturated our soil and not allowed for people to be in the fields. And so we're hoping that some better things happen and that we dry out for a while and we go on to business as usual. So I want to thank each and every one of those employees and volunteers across the county who came together for that. So it was a great effort and shows you that teamwork does pay off. Next item is elected officials' departmental reports. The first report is a finance report from Director Cotton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You have my report. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them at this time. My usual report.
Director,
Yes.
one question was on page 11. There was a miscellaneous refund. I was wondering what that was regarding. The only reason it stands out to me is because it's a 28,000% difference than normal.
Yes. Let's see. Page 11.
Yes, page 11 of your report, under the ambulance fund.
Oh. Yeah, that's actually been, that is actually, the insurance recovery was reclaimed reclassified it appears to be reclassified out of the wrong account. The money was deposited into insurance recovery, and it looks like someone has made an error in reclassification. So if you'll notice, that amount is the exact same under miscellaneous refund as it is insurance recovery. And that is money we received in payment for the 2 ambulance incidents that happened earlier in the year.
Thank you for clarification.
Is there any other questions?
We have a motion from Commissioner Bell. Is there a second? We have a second from Commissioner Stout. Anybody want to speak to that motion then? All in favor of adoption, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
That was just my regular,
I'm sorry.
but some of the members of the Budget and Finance Committee had asked me to present some additional information. As we had begun the process of working through the budget process, beginning, passing budgets through for approval, they wanted me to kind of touch base during the discussions we were having during the committee meeting. They expressed that they felt like I needed to clarify some stuff in regards to the fund balances for the budgeted funds. Because I had made the statement a couple times to them that we had passed a $3 million deficit budget in general fund this year. And they didn't at first understand, because the state requires us to have a balanced budget. We did balance the budget, but we balanced it with fund balance. So the additional handout that I gave this evening is 2 pages front and back for the eight funds that we actually set an annual budget for. And if you look through there, the top section of each fund shows you the last 4 years budgeted revenues and expenditures, and how that would have affected the fund balance had it played out the way we had it budgeted. And then the bottom half of each block shows the actuals for the last 3 years and then the year to date for this year. If you'll see, the red numbers are when we have exceeded our revenues with our expenditures. And as you can see, this year, every single one we exceeded expenditures in our budget for the year, at least when we set the budget last year, in every single fund. So if you'd like to peruse that, and anyone has any additional questions going forward, feel free to contact me, or I can clarify at a future meeting.
Thank you. Next report is Agricultural Extension Office. Chair recognizes Ms. Hilda Lytle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the County Commission. You should have a copy or have received an email copy of my report. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer those at this time.
Move to adopt.
We have a motion for adopt from Commissioner Rubley. Is there a second? Second from Commissioner Spartman. All in favor of adoption, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you for your report.
Thank you.
Next report is airport. So Chair recognizes Richard Crawford.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, County Commissioners. We have a copy of my report. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have at this time.
We have a motion to approve. We have a motion from Commissioner Stotts. Is there a second? From Commissioner Evans. All in favor of adoption, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion report is approved, excuse me. Codes and Environmental. So Chair recognizes Mr. Richard Thompson.
Administrator Haley, members of the court, you have a copy of my report. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you have at this time.
Do you have a motion to approve from Commissioner Savage, or is there a second from Commissioner Judkins? All in favor of adoption, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. EMA, so we have Mr. Cunningham here today. Chair recognizes Jim.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, you have my report. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer.
Motion to approve from Commissioner Bell. We have second from Commissioner Owens. Anybody want to else speak to that motion? Then all in favor of adoption, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. EMS, so we have Director Denny here. Chair recognizes him.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the court. You have a copy of our report. Any questions, and we'll be happy to answer.
So we have a motion from Commissioner England. We have a second from Commissioner Rubley. Any further questions? All in favor of adoption, say aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Next item is Industrial Development Board. Chair recognizes Mr. Don Alexander.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the court. Hope you have a copy of my report. If I can answer any questions, I'll try to do so.
We have a motion from Commissioner Prater, a second from Commissioner Stout. Anybody else want to speak to that motion or have questions? Yes, sir.
Don,
Recognize
what kind of
Mr. Ritter.
progress are we looking at on the hotel? Have you heard any breaking ground plans?
Right, we have sent out some invitations already. You should have one, if not already, but soon. And we are trying to coincide it with the opening of the Automation Robotics Training Center so that we can have it in the morning and our visitors can celebrate both events at one time.
All right, thank you.
Any further questions? All in favor of adoption, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Yes,
Just clarification, I can't think of the date that that's happening. I know it's in.
April 26th.
April 26th. I was going to announce it at
It's a
the end.
Friday.
Thank you, sir. Next item is committee reports. First report is Budget and Finance. Chair recognizes Commissioner Richard Grissom.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Budget and Finance has nothing to report at this time, other than we will be having a meeting this Thursday evening at 6:30 p.m. in the conference room. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item is Building and Grounds. Chair recognizes Commissioner Carl Bolden.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have nothing to report tonight except the Building and Grounds will be having a meeting Monday night at 5 o'clock here in the building. Thank you.
Thank you. Next report is Economic and Agriculture. Commissioner Gary Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, Economic and Agriculture does not have anything to report this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next report is Education. Chair recognizes Commissioner Carlin Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next Education Committee meeting will be on April the 1st, on Monday at 5 o'clock p.m. And contracts are let for the work at West Elementary, so our projects are moving on. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is Financial Management. Chair recognizes Director Justin Cotton.
Financial management has nothing to report at this time.
Thank you. Health and Welfare Report. Chair recognizes Commissioner Blaine Wiltshire.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to remind everyone in the public that our meeting originally scheduled for tomorrow night is canceled until further notice.
Thank you. Next report is Highway and Bridges. Commissioner Gary Prater.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Over the last couple of weeks, with the rain and everything, Levy's sort of done a little guesstimating on the damage and everything, and he says it's about $300,000 what kind of damage that it's done to the road system. He's talking to TEMA about some funding on that. Plus, we're going to open up some bids on Hillis Creek Road and Turner Bend Road. Thank you.
Thank you. Policy and Personnel. Chair recognizes Commissioner Tommy Savage.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, Policy and Personnel has nothing to report.
Thank you. Safety. Commissioner Ron Lee is absent today. Has anyone got? Chair recognizes Commissioner England.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Give you a little report. We're working on a medical director, a medical examiner, I should say, and we got 3 candidates. We're looking at that. Of course, Dr. Kirby's agreed to do it for a short period of time. And one good thing is all of our ambulances is back, and we are fully staffed now with all of our ambulances and all out of the shop. One new one, and the one that was wrecked at the mall was back in, so we're doing very well, and hats off to Preston Denny. He's doing a great job.
Thank you. Next item is special reports. So Chair recognizes Commissioner Stephen Helton to give County Corrections Partnership report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I want to say, last meeting, I did not address the chair appropriately, and I apologize for that. They don't have a training for this, so we're learning as we go. So please accept my apologies, and to Sheriff Myers as well. Moving forward, I have laid out on everybody's desk a jail plan of action. We had a very, very productive meeting, I feel like, with Bob Bass, the state, a number of jail staff, Executive Haley, and I believe there was at least 11 commissioners there for that meeting. On that meeting, we went over a number of different projects. As you can see, we've outlined those projects, and we've put an action to them, person responsible, timeline, cost. Now, as you can see, and I want everybody to understand that this is a living, breathing document. That's what Mr. Bob Bass referred to it as. This document will change. This will be modified. We will add things to this list. We may cut some things off of this list. So this is just a working document that we're sort of going with. It's a guideline of where we need to do and what we need to do. Now, one thing I do want to show you is your name is specifically on this list, and so as person responsible, you'll see commission down there. Staffing long term, that's one of those things that we need to tackle as the budget comes forth, and a few other things as well. Just review that, and if you have any specific questions, I'll be glad to talk about that or answer any questions, or Executive Haley, I'm sure, will answer those questions as well. Next meeting is yet to be determined. We're going to wait till Upland has some preliminary drawings and stuff for us. We did have some drawings that they showed us at that meeting, and which look good, but we don't have any numbers to that. We're supposed to be getting some numbers here in the coming weeks, so we hope to be able to have that meeting so we can review that and move forward with that process. One thing I do want to get Commissioner Stotts to talk about the mental health, and they're working there in the mental health, and I think we need to recognize what they're doing there and talk about how successful that is. Right now, the population at the jail is down. We're at 228. So hats off to the Justice Department of Warren County and everything that they're doing there. They're really getting the numbers down. I think they're working together. It's helped to alleviate the stress of the jail. Our housing capacity is at 251, so we're underneath that window right now. Commissioner Stotts, if you would talk about the mental health, I'd appreciate that.
Thank you, Commissioner Helton, County Executive Haley. Just to give everybody a brief update on our initiative at the jail, we have begun a process of providing counseling, mental health counseling, formal mental health counseling, once a week, 1 day per week at the jail. Generations is providing this service right now as free of charge to the county, as a donation, as an advocacy to support the county and to cut down on the recidivism rate at the jail. Our counselor, my counselor that works for me, Kenneth Smith, he is a licensed master's level therapist. He's going to the jail, and he's seeing on average right now about 6 to 8 people each Friday. In all honesty, at this point, the direction we're taking on this is, we're kind of still in the informal stages because we're trying to build something here. And having said that, we're really taking the lead from Tommy and his staff at the jail. Jackie, the administrator, they're really working with us extremely effectively on the type of people at the jail that really need help or really need to be seen. Obviously, my hopes is that we can continue to expand this program, and hopefully we can get into it, make it a full-time thing at some point, find a way to do that. So it's going really well. I'm looking into just a few other things to support this. There's also a nationwide initiative to support reentry programs, substance abuse and mental health programs called the Stepping Up Initiative. I'm looking into that. There's only one county in Tennessee that's adopted that. That's Shelby County. They've been extremely successful with that. I've been looking into that. I've been communicating with Coffee and Franklin counties in regards to their programs within their jail systems where they provide counseling, looking at what they're doing and trying to apply it back to us and the ins and outs of that. I'm also looking at, our governor, as County Executive Haley has pointed out, is, extreme supporter of criminal justice reform and advocacy for mental health and substance abuse. He has expanded the state's safety net program for uninsured individuals, I think upwards to $11 million. And so I've been really keeping a close eye on when that money is going to become available. It could be a huge resource for us as a county when it comes to finding ways to fund uninsured individuals receiving services, specifically those that are incarcerated. As we all know, a lot of folks that when they're incarcerated, they lose their insurance, especially if they have teen care. So that could be a huge resource for us as well. So overall, again, as an update, I think progress is going well. It's something new, but we're finding our footing. And with the cooperation of our sheriff, who's doing a wonderful job, and his staff, I really feel hopeful about the future of the program. Thank you.
Thank you for all the hard work, and just to reiterate on that success and all the people that have played a part in that, just kudos to everyone. But also with the help of TCAT and several partners, we got the mobile trailer unit moved to the jail, and through the Department of Labor, they are supplying several teachers for that program. And through the 3-Star grant, we were able to buy the laptops and the software to go along with that. And we should be meeting with them tomorrow morning to start that GED program back at the jail, and to implement then a soft skills program on top of that, and some other resources that we may be able to leverage as well with TCAT to provide some extra opportunities for job skills and workforce development. So I want to give a shout out to Dr. Locks and Mr. England and Mike Anderson and those that helped move the trailer, everyone. It was a good effort, and we should be able to get that program up and running here in the next few days. So we are very pleased that we're able to do that as well. So a lot of progress being made. So thank each and every one of you. Next committee report is redistricting. I have nothing to report on that except the census will be extremely important to this county, counting each and every person. So I had a meeting this last week with census officials. April 1st is the official introduction of that announcement that for the next year, they'll be put into place all the players that will be implemented in order to make this census count as accurate as possible. There'll be online opportunities. I have to put together some committees to help work on the census reporting here. So some of you may be called on to work on that. But as part of that, not only is it just important that we count people, and it's a constitutional requirement, but also representation in Nashville, representation in Congress, in the redrawing of our 12 districts will be based upon population. And so funding from Washington, funding from the state is also dependent upon growing our local population and counting each and every person. So it's extremely important. I'll be on the radio tomorrow to reiterate that to all of our residents, that that will be implemented soon. And next year, April 1st, 2020, will be the official kickoff of that program. And so we hope to get everything in place before then. So we will be reaching out to some of you. Next item on our agenda is a special presentation. So I want to welcome to the podium tonight Nancy Mayfield, an old-time friend of mine and teaching cohort from Warren County High School, to talk to us tonight a little bit about Meals on Wheels, and then we'll have a special presentation at the end of her report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and the Commission, for allowing us to speak tonight. We just wanted to remind you that we're here. We've been around a long time, and let you know that there's some updates that maybe you need to know. We've been around for 41 years. We're in our 42nd year of operation, Meals on Wheels in Warren County. We have around 200 clients. Last year, we served over 50,000 meals. We serve 5 days a week, hot meals. Some of our clients receive frozen meals for the weekend. Our meals cost us around $4.50, and it costs to serve one person per year around $1,100. So that's a big savings from a nursing home or assisted living, which is on the average from $30,000 to $50,000 wherever you live in the states. So we are keeping people at home so that they can live in their own home and be comfortable as long as possible to avoid those nursing homes and assisted living. The people we're serving, and most of you have a handout that I've gotten ready for you, so you can kind of have this with you, keep up with what we're talking about. Who we're serving is the elderly and the disabled, the people with dementia. We're seeing so much more of that. We're dealing with dementia every day. And we're trying to keep those people at people that live alone or with their spouse. They don't drive anymore. They have very few visitors, somebody to come in to help them. They're very much isolated from the rest of the world. We have hospice patients. It's kind of a revolving door at Meals on Wheels because they'll come on and off sometimes very rapidly, depending on what condition they're in. We focus on the people that are over 60 because it is a program for the elderly. Our average age of participants is 81. We have 35 people over 90 years old. Today was the birthday of our oldest client, and she turned 100 years old. That's wonderful. So we do provide a meal, but I think as important as a meal is we do a wellness check. Every day we're in that home trying to make sure that they're okay and that there's not some sort of emergency that we need to deal with. I brought Meredith Jones with me tonight. She's up and coming with Meals on Wheels, and she's been a big help. We spend a lot of our time during the day trying to find some of these people. And I say that because some of them can't hear. When they come to the door, they don't know that there's a volunteer out there with their meal. And that puts us in a tailspin because we don't know whether to call 911, make sure their contacts run over there and make sure they're okay. But it is a wellness check that needs to be done. So many of these people we've found, fallen, and they couldn't get up. Some of them in really a sick, disoriented state that we had to call ambulances for, and some of them have just passed away. We deal with a lot of situations. So that wellness check to us is just critical for a lot of these people. And if we weren't there every day, there's a lot of them that could not stay at home anymore. They just don't have the family or the family's working to keep that up for them. The next thing I want to look at is some of the things that set us apart from other counties. One is most of the other counties and their Meals on Wheels programs, they are federally funded or have some sort of source of state or some of the funding other than what's local. Warren County is one of the few that has 75% funding from local funds. So that means that we can go in and quickly add somebody to the program. They're coming back from the hospital or there's some emergency going on in that family. We can add them on right away because our in-house certification allows us to do that. So we can start them the next day. We don't have to wait on anybody sending us paperwork from other sources to get them on. And that also allows us to have a bigger variety of the clients that we serve. The federal guidelines lots of times eliminates a lot of people that's worked very hard in their life, and they have very little, but they fall just over that guideline. And they need help. They can't afford to hire someone, and they need someone to help them. And we are that agency lots of times. So that local funding is critical to us. When the program started 40-something years ago, that was the goal. We had to start. We had 3 sources of funding then. One was a federal program. The other was city and county government. And if we had not had city and county government, we'd have never got off the ground to begin with. And you all have helped us over the years, sometimes a lot, sometimes a little, depending on what our status was. And we kind of went back and forth with that. Now, one of the reasons I'm here today is because we need more help. And a lot of times, you know, we are in good shape and we don't come to you. But now we are having some problems. And some of the problems we faced, everything's going up. Food's going up, equipment's going up. And when you have a freezer go down, and we just had one recently, a $5,000 or $6,000 item, that is a chunk of money to try to come up with if you're out beating the bushes. So another thing, there's a rise in demand. We've got more and more people living older. That waiting list of ours is growing, and we could serve a lot more people, but you got to cut it off somewhere because there's just only so many dollars. Then the other thing is the nonprofit competition, there are a lot of good programs in this county. We understand that. A lot of people need money to support those programs. So we have a lot of competition out there. And the dollars that are coming in from individuals, lots of times is cut back because they are helping other people that need help. So that's some of our problems that we're looking at. Well, some of the facts I want to give you on the second page, something that big has happened to us recently is that the Upper Cumberland money, one of the reasons we stayed with Upper Cumberland and accepted their funds is, as I said, we can do a meal for $4.50. If they will give us $5.50 for the meal or any other number up to $7, they can with different funding sources. We can have a couple extra dollars to feed some of our local people that fit under that criteria that wouldn't fit with theirs. So it helps us to deal with the Upper Cumberland funding because we need that extra dollar or two. Wherever we can get that extra dollar, that's where we're going. We're going to try to feed as many people as we possibly can in Warren County. And one thing I wanted to clear up on this, I put in here, last year, UCHRA funded us almost $80,000 to do the choices clients, and there were other categories of funding that we served. We lost the choices clients. They chose to go with frozen food to everyone last year. I know, Mr. Haley, you've been working with that for a long time. They are sending a lot of our Warren County people frozen food, so we lost about $40,000 out of that 80 that they were contracted with. We did pick up 40 of it, about half of it, because we contracted with, we went straight to UCDD, the Development District, and worked with them this year to get part of those clients back. But we lost all the choices clients, which was not, it was really hurtful when you got a $200,000 budget, a little more than, and you lost $40,000 of it, one shot. So, and then those people are not happy because they do have the frozen. We're dealing with that too. We get a lot of phone calls about that. So I wanted to make that clear because we did lose that much money. In the past, what we've tried to do is keep our operating budget of $200,000 in place so that we could guarantee these people in the next year to work with. Well, each year we keep our operating funds go down because of things like this and the other things I've talked about. So that right now we have enough to last for about 6 more months. So we're getting concerned with those numbers. I'm not saying we're losing the program. I'm just saying it's time to make everyone aware that we do need to step up and work with this program if we want to keep it the way it has been for years here in Warren County. We're kind of the exception to the rule in most of the other counties because we have a volunteer base in Warren County that is exceptional. We have 100 people a week coming in to deliver meals, and they are using their gas, their time, and their energy to do that. And one of your commissioners is one of our volunteers, and we really appreciate him. Thank you, Gary Martin. But they do make this program possible. If we did not have them, we could not do what we do. If we had to pay for delivery, that budget would skyrocket from what it is now. A lot of other counties do pay for delivery, and that's the reason they're serving so few people. So that's kind of my update from Meals on Wheels. And do you have any questions for us? Yes.
Ms. Mayfield, I'd like to make a statement that if you ever want to make a donation in memory of someone, we've got where we do that a lot instead of buying flowers or something. We make donations to Meals on Wheels. I don't think you could do any better. And also,
thank you.
I was the contact person for my parents, and Meals on Wheels contacted me once when one of them was sick. So they do a lot more than just deliver meals.
We try to do that.
Thank
you. Thank you.
do want to say, of course, I sit on the Upper Cumberland Development Board and UCHRA Board and several of those agencies, and you know, there's been a consolidation of those agencies of sorts under the direction of Upper Cumberland Development, and there's been some reshuffling around of line items and money, and the food program is under consideration now to do some revamping or to do something. So we're not really sure how that's going to play out, but we are aware of the situation. I am as well, and it is critical for a lot of people, and I want to thank each and every one of those volunteers and those folks that are committed to serving the public. And those meals are an outreach program, whether some people like to think about it or not, because for many elderly, it's the only human contact some of them have with anyone during the day. And so it's an important thing. So anybody else got any questions? Because we got a little special presentation. So Commissioner Brown, if you would like to go to the podium, and Mr. Matt Fino, if you'd like to come to the podium here. And any other member, and Jim Carden. So I will. I just want to say something before. We have an event each year, the triathlon, the McMinnville Triathlon, that usually we end up earmarking one or two nonprofits or agencies within the county to give a gift of benevolence to. Somebody worthwhile, some group that's done an exceptional job, some group that we wish to give a little shout out to for the volunteers and the efforts that you do to changing the lives of our citizens. And so we have members of the Triathlon Committee, and I'll come down there too, and we work relentlessly to make this a successful event. And there's many community organizations that help support that triathlon, and volunteer community members that do that, and law enforcement agents as well. But it's a great event, and we have a fun time doing it. It's a lot of hard work, but we want to recognize tonight Meals on Wheels. So Commissioner Brown and Mr. Fino, Mr. Carden, if you want to say something while I'm coming down there.
Tonight, on behalf of the McMinnville City Triathlon Committee, we want to present you with a check for $500 for Meals on Wheels. The money that's... The McMinnville City Triathlon has been going on since 2003. It is now run annually by a group of volunteers dedicated to promoting tourism and health and fitness in our community. The donation tonight came from individual donations, sponsorships, and fees that enable us to give back to our community. This is one of the many events that comes on in Warren County that we're very, very proud of, and we are excited to be able to make this gift to you tonight to use for such a worthy cause. Thank you for all you do.
A lot of good things happen across our community, and it's all these agencies and organizations and volunteers that really makes our job a lot easier in many cases, because government can't do everything. And so as the community agencies and organizations come forward and offer these services, we have to always recognize the efforts that they have made across the years. So thank each and every one of you. Next item of business is old business. Any member of the commission got old business to bring up tonight? Seeing none, we'll move on to new business. We have several items. Item number one is to reappoint judicial commissioners for a one-year term. And so I think those judicial commissioners are here tonight, and I wish that you would stand, and then we'll make a motion to approve those, and you'll get sworn in later tonight. So we have 9 judicial commissioners. Not all of them are here, but that's Kevin Deason, Hilda Martin, Lady Martin, Walter McLaren, Ken Mullican, Mike Niels, Susan Newby, David Williams, and Irwin White. And so, is that right? Irwin's left. So we have those judicial commissioners. The other one that we're filling, it's already been filled, was Kevin Deason, right? They filled that spot. So we have a motion to approve their
Motion to
slate of
approve.
judicial. We have a motion from Commissioner Stotts and a second from Commissioner Savage. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. And you'll be sworn in after the ceremony tonight. Item number 2 is appoint and elect District 3 and District 4 constables. Our process is that when a vacancy becomes open, when a vacancy is there, we actually advertise that. Any interested parties come to the Election Commission, pick up a qualifying affidavit, take that to the clerk's office where it's notarized, and then that copy is brought to me for a slate to be put together. So for District 3, the passing of Constable Pennington opened that position, and we regret his passing. We had one applicant that turned in an affidavit, and that is Mark Griffith, if he would like to come to the podium and introduce himself, and then we'll have to vote on this appointment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. A lot of you know, my name's Mark Griffith. I was a deputy here in Warren County for almost 27 years. I love the job, and I was asked by some of the constables to fill this position. Any questions of me?
Motion to elect by acclamation.
Can we do that? It's the only person, so I think that's, so we have a motion to appoint by acclamation. Is there a second from Commissioner Brown? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a new constable. Thank you for being willing to serve. For District 4, the resignation of Jonathan Crouch left that an open position. And so we have 3 qualifying candidates. And so we'll ask each one of them to come to the podium and introduce yourself and to give any background that you'd like to give. And so we'll each ask each one of you to come to the podium and do that. And then we will have a roll call count on that vote. So first qualifying candidate was Tommy Adams. So if you'd like to come to the podium and introduce yourself.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, my name is Tommy Adams, lifetime member here in Warren County. I have served with Mike Melville Piss. She was one of the first ones that was sworn in on that, and done a 2-year stint with that. Did have a lot of her training with the Mercy personnel in Mike Melville. Probably about 2 months before we got sworn in, got our badges to become patrol. So I do have a background in, what I'm applying for. 8 years ago, did apply for this district, in District 4. Did win this district, and thought I was going to have back surgery and neck surgery. Ended up not having to do it. I had to turn my paperwork in. Went back 3 days later, but John had filed it. So I would greatly appreciate your vote, and nice to meet a lot of you that I've not met before. So,
Thank you.
any questions?
Thank you, sir. We've also got candidate John Mark Norris. Like to come to the podium, introduce yourself.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, my name is John Mark Norris. I just applied for this position because I was District 1 constable back in 2012-13. I had to step down, unfortunately, because of personal reasons. And I just recently, last year, moved into District 1. And so I just felt like I wanted to apply for it. Anybody have any questions for me?
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then the third candidate with Anthony Soren. If you'd like to come to the podium, introduce yourself, Anthony.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. My name's Anthony Soren. I was the constable for District 4 for 8 years. I already have all the training, all certificates, all the schooling. I used to ride with the sheriff's department every other weekend, and I'd be like a second man in the vehicle. And I was called upon several times by the sheriff's department to help them, and I had the experience and the training. I would like to serve as District 4 Constable again. I appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
We'll have a roll call vote. Who was the question? Who had the question? Okay. Commissioner Brown had a question. I'm sorry, Anthony.
Mr. Soren, you said you served for 8 years in that district?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you run again and lose, or did you just take a break?
Yeah, I took a break. When Jonathan Crouch took over, he wanted to serve, so I allowed him to take that position.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we'll ask the clerk to call the roll for, you can vote one time for one of the three candidates. So we'll have to keep record of this. Don't vote twice, so you can cast the ballot for one candidate. So we'll start with Tommy Adams, and then we'll reverse it on the second one.
Pass.
Carl D. Bolden,
Pass.
Carl E. Bolden,
Pass.
Carleen Brown,
Yes.
David Dunlap,
Pass.
Randy England,
Make sure I'm right. This is for Tommy Adam?
Tommy Adams.
Yes.
Deborah Evans,
Pass.
Steve Glenn. Oh, he's not here, I'm sorry. I'm on another sheet, I'm sorry. Richard Grissom,
Pass.
Stephen Helton,
Pass.
Lori Jenkins,
Pass.
Gary Martin,
Pass. Pass.
Daniel Owens,
Pass.
Gary Prater,
Pass.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage,
Yes.
Tyrone Spartman,
Pass.
Joseph Stotts,
Yes.
Philip Stout,
Yes.
Cole Taylor,
Yes.
Blaine Wiltshire.
Yes.
Anybody want to change your vote?
Next candidate is John Mark Norris. So we'll reverse the roll on this.
Blaine Wiltshire,
Pass.
Cole Taylor,
Pass.
Philip Stout,
Pass.
Joseph Stotts,
Already voted.
Tyrone Spartman,
Pass.
Tommy Savage,
Pass.
Scott Ruble,
Pass.
Christie Ross,
Pass.
Gary Prater,
Pass.
Daniel Owens,
Pass.
Gary Martin,
Pass.
Lori Jenkins,
Pass.
Stephen Helton,
Pass.
Richard Grissom,
Pass.
Deborah Evans,
Pass.
Randy England,
Pass.
David Dunlap,
Pass.
Carleen Brown,
Pass.
Carl E. Bolden,
Pass.
Carl D. Bolden,
Pass.
Michael Bell.
Pass.
Anyone want to change your vote?
We'll do Anthony Sawyer next. So
Michael Bell,
Yes.
Carl D. Bolden,
Yes.
Carl E. Bolden,
Yes.
Carleen Brown,
Pass.
David Dunlap,
Yes.
Randy England,
Pass.
Deborah Evans,
Yes.
Richard Grissom,
Yes.
Stephen Helton,
Yes.
Lori Jenkins,
Yes.
Gary Martin,
Yes.
Daniel Owens,
Yes.
Gary Prater,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Pass.
Scott Ruble,
Pass.
Tommy Savage,
Pass.
Tyrone Spartman,
Yes.
Joseph Stotts,
Pass.
Philip Stout,
Pass.
Cole Taylor,
Pass.
Blaine Wiltshire.
Pass.
So for Tommy Adams, we had 9 affirmed votes. For Mr. John Martin Norris, there were no confirmed votes. For Mr. Soren, there were 12 confirmed votes. So, Mr. Soren, if you are our new constable for District 4, congratulations. Once again, they'll be sworn in at the end of the meeting tonight, so if you'll stick around for that. We do have an open position on the Industrial Development Board, and so that vacancy came available when one of the current members resigned. So we're looking to fill that vacancy in the next county commission meeting. We're going to be using our new office management program, Granicus, to kind of as a soft launch to see on how that's going to work. We'll be taking applications through that program on people who might be interested in serving on that position. And so we'll be using that and posting that to get a little bit more community participation so people can understand what the IDB does, and those people might have a little bit extra voice in wanting to serve. And so we'll be using that in our next appointment process. And so we encourage anyone that might be interested in that to stay posted and to contact my office if they are interested in filling that position. So we'll do that at our next meeting. Item number 4 is to approve the contract for billing services between Warren County EMS and AMB. And so we have that, was in your package, that moved out of committee with approval. We have Director Denny here tonight. Is there a motion to approve that? So we have a motion for Commissioner Rubley, a second from Commissioner England. Anybody got any questions or want to speak to that motion? We'll do a roll call vote on that.
Michael Bell,
Yes.
Carl D. Bolden,
Yes.
Carl E. Bolden,
Yes.
Carleen Brown,
Yes.
David Dunlap,
Yes.
Randy England,
Yes.
Deborah Evans,
Yes.
Richard Grissom,
Yes.
Stephen Hilton,
Yes.
Lori Jenkins,
Yes.
Gary Martin,
Yes.
Daniel Owens,
Yes.
Gary Prater,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage,
Yes.
Tyrone Spartman,
Yes.
Joseph Stotts,
Yes.
Philip Stout,
Yes.
Cole Taylor,
Yes.
Lane Wiltshire.
Yes.
Anyone want to change your vote? 21 yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Next item will be item number 6 to approve a appropriation memo for the general obligation bonds for ESG. Is there a motion? We have a motion from Mr. Prater. We have a second from Commissioner Stout. Anybody want to speak to that motion or have questions that did move out of committee? I guess we'll call for the vote.
Michael Bell. Yes. Carl D. Bolden,
Yes.
Carl E. Bolden,
Yes.
Carleen Brown,
Yes.
David Dunlap,
Yes.
Randy England,
Yes.
Deborah Evans,
Yes.
Richard Grissom,
Yes.
Stephen Hilton,
Yes.
Lori Jenkins,
Yes.
Gary Martin,
Yes.
Daniel Owens,
Yes.
Gary Prater,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage,
Yes.
Tyrone Spartman,
Yes.
Joseph Stotts,
Yes.
Philip Stout,
Yes.
Cole Taylor,
Yes.
Lane Wiltshire.
Yes.
Anyone want to change your vote? Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Next item is to approve the appropriation memo for the general obligation bonds for the jail. Is there a motion? We have a motion from Commissioner Grissom, a second from Commissioner Stotts. Anybody want to speak to that motion or have questions that also moved out of committee?
This is, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
this is,
Recognize Commissioner Hilton.
this is just for the $1 million of that, or is this for all of it? To appropriate all of it?
Mr. Cotton, you want to speak to that?
It is just to appropriate $1 million at this time.
Okay. And so like we talked about last meeting, this is going to basically move it into financial management's hands. So once there's an appropriate line item off the project list that we've got, it'll go to financial management. Financial management will make the decision to spend that money up to $1 million. Anything over that, then it has to come back and we have to appropriate more money, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
So any other questions? Then we'll call for the vote.
Michael Bell,
Yes.
Carl D. Bolden,
Yes.
Carl E. Bolden,
Yes.
Carly Brown,
Yes.
David Dunlap,
Yes.
Randy England,
Yes.
Deborah Evans,
Yes.
Richard Grissom,
Yes.
Stephen Helton,
Yes.
Lori Jenkins,
Yes.
Gary Martin,
Yes.
Daniel Owens,
Yes.
Gary Prater,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage,
Yes.
Tyrone Spartman,
Yes.
Joseph Stotts,
Yes.
Philip Stout,
Yes.
Cole Taylor,
Yes.
Blaine Wiltshire.
Yes.
Anyone want to change their vote?
Motion carries. Thank you. Next item is Resolution Number 3, 2019, is the issuance of general obligation refunding bonds. Is there a motion? We have a motion from Commissioner Ruble. Is there a second? Second from Commissioner Stout. We have, anybody want to speak to that motion? We have Mr. Scott Gibson here tonight, if he wants to come to the podium, answer any questions about what we're doing here and how this is playing out.
Thank you. I will answer any questions. I did put a couple handout in everyone's preliminary refunding analysis. Turn to page 1, shows the estimated savings of refinancing two pieces of debt that were issued in 2010. We are going to be refinancing those just to lower the interest rate. We will not be extending the debt or anything like that. And the projected savings are $239,000 and some change. Hopefully, we would do better than that. The market's a little bit better today. Plus, I believe we will end up combining this with some of the jail money that's been, that y'all are going to need at some point when we do issue debt. So that will help us on our costs a little bit too. So the resolution in front of you would authorize the refunding. And then also there was another item in your packets that we handed out tonight. There was a letter from the state. Before this commission adopts this resolution tonight, we had to send a packet of information into the state so that they could report on the refunding, and their report back to you is what was part of that packet. So they approved the refunding. So that is kind of an overview of what we're trying to accomplish.
We just got this letter from the controllers today. That's why
Yeah,
it's kind of
sorry.
hot off the press. We just ran the copies.
It literally came in at 5 p.m. today.
So any further questions, Mr. Gibson?
I move to adopt.
Motion is second. Commissioner Savage, do you have a question? No. Okay. So we have a motion and a second. We're going to do a roll call vote.
Michael Bell,
Yes.
Carl D. Bolden,
Yes.
Carl E. Bolden,
Yes.
Carly Brown,
Yes.
David Dunlap,
Yes.
Randy England,
Yes.
Deborah Evans,
Yes.
Richard Grissom,
Yes.
Stephen Hilton,
Yes.
Lori Jenkins,
Yes.
Gary Martin,
Yes.
Daniel Owens,
Yes.
Gary Prater,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage,
Yes.
Tyrone Spartman,
Yes.
Joseph Stotts,
Yes.
Philip Stout,
Yes.
Cole Taylor, Blaine Wiltshire.
Yes.
Anyone want to change your vote? 21 yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Next item is resolution. Thank you, Mr. Gibson. Safe trip to Dyersburg. Next item is resolution number 4-2019, and that is to expand the boundary of the Downtown Development Refinance Corporation, known as the pilot program. And so is there a motion? We have a motion from Commissioner Spartman. Is there a second? We have a second from Commissioner Savage. Now, we can open up the floor for discussion, or if you want to speak to that motion, I think that yes, we do. If you want to come to the podium.
boundary expansion for the MDRFC, which administers the pilot program for McMinnville and Warren County.
Mr. Weatherspoon.
Yes. Well, recognize Commissioner Owens.
It states here y'all are an organization. Is that a business or a branch of the government?
It's a branch of the government.
Do you currently have any marketing plans for this program?
In going to the Rotary Club, Exchange Clubs, WCPI, those kind of general things that we've done before when we first started, yes.
When you first started?
Yes.
It's also on the city's website, and it'll be on our website when we migrate all that information and create that.
It's on the cities?
It's on the city's website.
Do you know of any other city limits that's expanded that across the entire city limits?
I think both Jackson and Shelby County, Memphis are, but I'm not sure about Memphis, but I'm fairly positive Jackson is, and that's the only three programs in the state, is us, Shelby County, and Jackson, Tennessee. Well, there's only three in the state.
I've done some research on this type of program. Most is usually in lieu with IDBs. What I've found with downtown type programs is there's little information out there. I talked to Jackson Downtown Development, Mr. Altabell.
Yes.
I think he was not in, but I got his secretary. He said currently they've got over 30 million investments downtown.
Yes.
But the program is not expanded throughout the entire city limits, is what he said.
Okay. He probably knows, the information I got from the assistant assessor was it was the entire city limits. But the one thing that helped them quite a bit, although it's a bad deal for them, was right after they started their programs when the tornado came through. And that really gave their program a jump start.
Do we have any numbers to show the increase of tax assessment we are gaining from these few projects that's already been taking part of it?
Well, none of them have completed yet. Healthy Kids will complete in 2 years and will return to the tax rolls at a very substantial increase over to what that property was assessed at prior to them taking over the program. And all three of our programs, we've been told, by the people that were doing the construction, they would not have done the program without the tax freeze provided by the pilot program. When you look at Healthy Kids, I don't know what it's gonna assess at, but it's gonna be big. And we would not, according to them, have gotten it without the program.
Mr. Weatherspoon, I got one question, please. I just want to
Chair
know.
recognizes Commissioner England.
Yes, sir. You've got about 3 projects that has been ongoing for, right? That has been,
Well, there are 3 that have been approved so far.
yes, sir. What kind of applications have you got for future? You got any
We
that's,
don't have any.
don't have any at present?
Again, the reason we're asking for this boundary expansion is we think the compacted area that was originally proposed is so small, that's the reason we've only had 3. I personally sent out letters to every downtown property owner, to make them aware of this program, people that were inside the boundary as it exists today, and got 0 responses back.
Thank you.
We're trying, but, you know the situation of building downtown. That's why we'd like to expand to include the entire city limits, only for commercial properties.
Yes, Commissioner Bowe.
Isn't taking in the entire city at one time a pretty good sized lump?
We don't think so, and if necessary, we have the ability to hire an executive director, which we will fund ourselves to handle any major influx of applications.
Mr. Witherspoon, you might want to explain entire city does not mean every piece of property within the city.
Only commercial, everything zoned C1 through C3. I think most of y'all have seen the map, and it's a very small part of the city, and it's primarily the entrance ways, the 4 main entrances into
Yes, Commissioner Helton.
Mr. Chairman, Beans, we're talking about business development, and then we're also talking about taxes. I'm sort of curious what our IDB director would have to say about this, and then also our tax lady, how she feels about that, and just because it's going to definitely affect our taxes, and it's going to affect possibly industry coming in as well. So I'm curious if they could comment on what they feel about this. They deal with it every day.
So I'm not sure who you're asking me to recognize. So, Mr. Alexander, you want to come to the podium? What we're collecting in taxes now will not go down.
Yes, I should have made that, hopefully you all.
It's moved through committee and.
This does not reduce any taxes. It only provides an incentive to create commercial development, which will increase taxes. At the same time, these projects are in this program, you're doing construction, you're hiring people to work in retail shops, you're getting the sales tax off all that retail business that didn't exist before. So it's not like we're not getting anything out of it. We're just not getting the increase for the renovation of that particular property until it's completed the pilot program. There's no reduction in current taxes whatsoever.
Mr. Alexander, I don't know what they wanted to ask you, but I'll recognize you in case there's a question, Commissioner.
My question would be, as far as new development and stuff, how would this affect bringing in new development? Would it affect your decision or your sales staff as far as bringing more business in?
This is going to be primarily retail because of where it's located. I don't see any conflict with industrial development is the first thing I'd like to say. I think what he was trying to emphasize is if we've got a property out there right now that they're paying X amount of dollars for the taxes, and somebody wants this incentive and they improve the property to X plus 100, we're still getting X amount of taxes on this property, so we don't lose that. What we gain is when we've got that X plus 100 and the property then pays through this process down the road, then we assess that property at X plus 100 and we benefit from that. If we don't put the incentive in, we're still at X amount of taxes and it never increases. So it's used as an incentive to bring in that X plus 100 improvement, if you follow me.
One other item, Mr. Hilton, just to make sure we're clear. We do not, by statute, do any industrial projects. It's all commercial, retail, or office space, or residential on the second story. Just to give you an example of how we work together, when the hotel first came up, there was some confusion in the community as to who was going to be doing that, the NDRSC or the Industrial Development Board. It made a lot of sense to us that the IDB was in a much better position to handle that than we were, and we stepped back. That's the way we work as partners to try to encourage development in the middle and Warren County, both in the industrial and the commercial areas.
And a tax incrementing finance plan was instrumental in landing that project as well.
And as we grow, we need to expand our livability, and this will help us do that. That's one of the goals we have. I hope I've answered your question, Stephen.
Any other questions, Commissioner Owens?
Now, if you open the gates and want to just spread it across all commercial property, could that potentially hurt some of the natural growth that's already going along in Warren County?
I don't understand how you would work, sir.
Well, I'm just saying that, you could potentially take eyes off of like downtown that's really, growing and doing real well. Of course, you see some commercial buildings already doing stuff without this program.
That's exactly correct.
If you expand this too far, would it not take eyes away from some of the current progress we're seeing?
I don't see that. I don't see how that could occur. I'd be willing to have you give me more information, but I don't see any way that this inhibits any kind of commercial development. It all incentivizes it across the board.
Well, do we have numbers to show how much growth we've experienced over the past 10 years with and without?
We got the three projects we've done. and we were told they wouldn't have happened without it. But it's kind of like building a spec building at the industrial park. That's exactly right. You know, you build it and you hope somebody buys it, or leases it or whatever. We have to take people at their word that when they do this, they're doing it because of the incentives provided.
And it's not gonna apply to everybody. You can see with downtown, there's only been 3 successful applicants. One of those wouldn't have happened without it, but we don't know how it'll affect these entranceways to the city. A big box store, a big retail is not gonna be interested in the program. You know, normally it's local people that need that extra incentive, but.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Commissioner Prater.
I think it's a great idea, just like Mike said. It's sort of like, it's giving you an incentive to improve your property. And it's sort of like building a spec building. We give them an incentive to come in there and, you know, put people to work. And I believe this is a good idea. I don't see anything bad about it.
Ms. Martin, I think they asked you to come to the podium as well. They may have questions of you, so. Our assessor's here, so I know there was some concerns about Greenbelt designation for some of those commercial pieces of property, but that was addressed and corrected in that original proposal, so. Yes,
In relation to the taxes, is you're gonna lock the tax rate in to this, for what you're doing? Or, I'm talking to anybody that'll answer me.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. Over here in the corner. The tax rate, will it fluctuate?
Yes, ma'am.
It will, and is that the practice you've had in the past?
Yes, ma'am.
Because as I look at the other pilot programs you've done, you've plotted out all of their payments, and that's a locked-in rate.
Yes, and we'll be changing that.
Well, then that's not what you had done then.
Well, let me explain. We had used tax payments previously. In other words, these people made their tax payments to the trustee, the county, and the city recorder, just like they had always done. The state came back to Ms. Martin and said, you can't do that. This is taxes, and these are in a program that exempts them from taxes. What you have to do is do pilot in lieu of taxes. So we will be, going forward, adjusting the rate commensurate with any changes in the tax rate.
Okay, and your marketing, you're just, from what you had told Commissioner Owens, it seems like it's more of a local marketing. I want to know what you're going to do to incent, or to bring in people from out of state versus just looking locally.
Haven't given any thought about anything out of state. It's primarily focused on local. Or people, you know, that are dealing with realtors, and so that's one of the groups we'll be working with very closely, is the Realtors Association. As a matter of fact, Lynn Cole is one of our board members. She's very active in that.
I will say when people apply, Commissioner Ross, when they apply for building permits and go to the codes office for the city of McMinnville, it is explained to them and a package is given to them.
Well, I know that the pilot program is supposed to be for flailing areas, things that are having a hard time financially, or to incentivize somebody to go somewhere they wouldn't normally go. For example, I don't think anybody would argue that Mount Leo might need some help. But I do have issue, or have a problem understanding how our very much now booming McMinnville would need help getting what we're already getting. The growth numbers are pretty substantial, over $1 million from 2016 to 2017 to 2018, and then almost $5 million from 2018 to now. So it's awful hard to want to give those tax dollars away when we're growing naturally.
Again, we're not using anything away, but we are delayed.
That's my
I
question.
fail to see how we're using attention away, but.
Potential.
Potential.
Has anybody got any questions of property assessor? Commissioner Bolden?
What Mr. Ross was saying, I totally agree. If we're gonna grow anyway, we're losing tax dollars.
That's right.
Now,
There's no way around that. If we're
Beth,
gonna grow,
what is our growth right now?
I have no idea.
Ms. Martin?
Ross came to my office and asked me to run some numbers. And the growth in the last 2 years has went up like $6 million in commercial growth in the city of McMinnville. Sure, it's got its positives and it's got its negatives. Everything does. For 10, most, I think 2 of the 3 so far are on 10-year programs, am I correct? And then the latest one is on a 15-year plan.
I believe that's correct.
So, in essence, for 10 years, we're not going to collect this new growth that they do. But when it comes off the pilot program, we will collect on it. So sure, if it's an incentive, to help grow, that's a good thing. We won't collect, and it will have depreciation for 10 to 15 years, depending upon what the plan is, that we will, lose some growth. But we are growing. If we were in a detrimental state, sure. I think in the last 2 years, though, seeing $6 million in growth just in the city of McMinnville in commercial, we do show growth. But, does that answer your question?
So do you, as the tax assessor, feel that this is a good idea or a bad idea?
I just assess property, okay?
I was going to say, she shouldn't have to answer that question. She assesses the property for what it's worth, so, and does an excellent job.
And if I can just say, like, for instance, Pioneer Pediatrics, I didn't bring the numbers with me, but I'm pretty sure those numbers are based on maybe $150,000 value before the building was ever upgraded. And she's got it.
I did work on that program, and they would have not done that program without the pilot program. Ben Myers wouldn't have done his building either, so.
This is not exactly what I needed, but what I was saying was, I think it's based on around $150,000 appraised value before any upgrades were ever done, and it's close to like 1.4 million right now. So when that comes off the tax rolls in a couple of years, if they had never done this, we would just be collecting on 150,000 from here on out. Now we'll be collecting on 1.4 with depreciation, of course.
Mr. Chairman, I'll call for the question.
Yes, so we have a call for the question.
Are you finished with us?
Yes. Roll call.
Michael Bell,
No.
Carl D. Bolden,
No.
Carl E. Bolden.
Yes.
Carleen Brown,
Yes.
David Dunlap,
Yes.
Randy England,
Yes.
Deborah Evans,
Yes.
Richard Grissom,
Yes.
Stephen Helton,
No.
Lori Judkins,
Yes.
Gary Martin,
Yes.
Daniel Owens,
No.
Gary Prater,
Yes.
Christy Ross,
No.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage,
Yes.
Tyrone Spartman,
Yes.
Joseph Stotts,
Yes.
Philip Stout,
Yes.
Cole Taylor,
Pass.
Lane Wiltshire.
No.
Anyone want to change your vote?
Thirteen yes, 7 no, motion passes. 14? 14 to 7, motion passes. Next item of business is approval of bonds for constables. So, Miss, we got that. You want to address that, Ms. Scott? You want to address the bonds, explain those?
This is the bonds for the constable. One is for Matthew Bratcher in the amount of $5,000, and the other one is for Carl Day in the amount of $5,000.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to
We have a
approve.
motion, Commissioner Owens, a second from whom? Commissioner Bell? Did you say yes? All right. Anybody else want to speak to that motion? Just do roll call. Roll call. Roll call vote.
Michael Bell,
Yes.
Carl D. Bolden,
Yes.
Carl E. Bolden,
Yes.
Carleen Brown,
Yes.
David Dunlap,
Yes.
Randy England,
Yes.
Deborah Evans,
Yes.
Richard Grissom,
Yes.
Stephen Hilton,
Yes.
Lori Jenkins,
Yes.
Gary Martin,
Yes.
Daniel Owens,
Yes.
Gary Prater,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage,
Yes.
Tyrone Spartman,
Yes.
Joseph Stotts,
Yes.
Philip Stout,
Yes.
Cole Taylor,
Yes.
Lane Wiltshire.
Yes.
Anyone want to change your vote? 21 yes.
Motion carries. Last item is approval of notaries. You have a list of notaries in front of you that was on your desk. Do we have a motion to approve the notaries? Motion from Commissioner Helton, second from Commissioner Taylor. Anybody want to speak to that motion or have any questions about said list of notaries? All in favor of approval, say aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next item is announcements. I've got a couple of announcements, and Commissioner England has one as well. We had our local military unit sponsored a marathon this weekend, and Mickey Ralph won that overall marathon, so I want to congratulate him, but I also want to give a shout out to the constables, the law enforcement people, the military units, and all the volunteers. So we had well over 100 people participating in the walk in the marathon, so it was a great event. The weather was beautiful, and I think everybody had a great time. And so we staged it from the VFW, so that was a great event. Tomorrow at 8 a.m. at Mount View Cemetery, there'll be a 50th anniversary recognition for Bobby Ray. And so our local hero that died in Vietnam, and it's the 50th anniversary of his death. And there'll be a military unit here at the grave at 8 o'clock to do a ceremony. And Bobby Ray's sister, Mary Dawn Ray Bixby, will be there as well. And then tomorrow night at the Park Theater, the U.S. Navy Band C chorus will be at the Park Theater, and there'll be another recognition. Plus, at Cumberland College, there'll be a recognition at 3 o'clock tomorrow to salute Bobby Ray and his service, giving the ultimate sacrifice to our nation. So you're all welcome to attend any and all of those events. On April 26th at 11 a.m., the Robotics Center will be have its ribbon cutting and dedication. Some of you were at the preview last week. It's going to be a beautiful facility and a game changer for the city of McMinnville. So we've sent out lots of invites. So we thank everybody that played a part in that. The governor's been invited. Members of the state government will be there as well. So I think they've sent several hundred invitations out. And so each and every one of you are welcome to attend. Probably have some overflow parking, have to do some, some shuttling of people back and forth, but we'll do what we need. But it's a great event. And as Mr. Alexander said earlier that morning, the hotel will be doing groundbreaking. I think it's at 9:30, right across the street. So everybody's been invited to that as well. So lots of new changes coming to McMinnville. The Travel Channel was here this weekend doing a feature for the Travel Channel, plus this last weekend, the production for a movie, which is a sequel to one that was filmed here earlier, Potter's Ground, that won a Film Festival Award last year. They came back and I think finished up their filming over the weekend, so we'll be looking forward to that. Our website will be launched in mid-April, so we'll be migrating all that information to our new website. And so that'll be a good thing that we're able to be ADA compliant, plus have that information and upgrades to our website for transparency and better communication with our residents. Also got an announcement from Commissioner England. So if you'd like to address the commission.
Thank you, Mr.
with your
Chairman.
announcement.
I'd like to invite everybody to come to our school at TCAT this Friday night. We're having our spring festival with open house. You can come see my classroom if you'd like to, and all the others. And we're raising money for our Skills USA. Our students will be going to competition April the 1st and 2nd. And I have one of my students be competing on April the 2nd. And if he don't win, he won't pass in my class. But, that's how it works. We'd like for you to come out. We're going to have dinner, lasagna dinner this Friday night. I can't remember the cost. I think it's $7 or $8. You get all the fixings, go with it, and then we'll have an auction. Try to raise money to support our students. And come out and see our school. It's a beautiful school. We're sitting in between Montlow there and with the robotics center and all. And so We've got a beautiful school. We'd like for you to come see it. Come out there. As I tell everybody, we're kind of, and Executive Head will tell you this, we're kind of a school that we kind of forget about because we're back there by ourselves. But if you come and see what we've got to offer with all industry coming on board, we're trying to help with the jail, bringing the trailer over to the jail. I was talked to today about we're going to take that one step further and possibly teach our inmates forklift driving. So that way people that has businesses and what have you can need forklift drivers. So we're doing a lot of stuff, so come check us out. Thank you.
I've got one last announcement, but before we do that, does anybody else have an announcement for the commission? This one's kind of a sad announcement. The passing of Dr. Pat Sabo. The last few days have been kind of hard for the family and friends. Dr. Sabo was a great public servant. He served as our coroner medical director for the ambulance service, but also was taking on the task of being our jail physician. So he's going to be missed. His service will be this Saturday at High's Funeral Home. And so our thoughts and prayers go out to his wife and family. So it's been kind of hard on me these last few days because I had got to be close friends with him as we put together a deal to provide service to the county. So he's going to be sadly missed. And then one last thing, at our governor's conference for mayors, that part of the video that we saw today. Prior to that, the state of Tennessee held another event, a luncheon, where Warren County and the Industrial Development Board and BRAC were awarded with a state recognition, the 2009 John S. Wilder Rebuild Tennessee Award for our robotics center. And so that was a great thing that we were able to. We're on the radar now for the state of Tennessee. They're looking toward us as we set the pace for the rest of the communities to follow. So it was a great endeavor, and I was pleased to be there to accept that recognition for Warren County. Is there any further business to come before the commission tonight? Yes, sir. We have a motion from Commissioner Prater, a second from Commissioner England. All in favor say aye. Thank you. Thank y'all for a good meeting. Yes, those are going to be sworn in.